My name is Chloe Bennett. I'm 29 years old and a captain in the U.S. Army. I stand in the cavernous Joint Operations Hall at Fort Liberty surrounded by polished flags and the muted hum of uniformed officers preparing for the gala. Leading 1,000 troops at 25 cute story. Major Larson's voice booms over the PA system sharp as shrapnel. He stands 2 paces in front of me, chest thrust forward, arms crossed. His words echo against the high ceiling ricocheting through the rows of seats where my peers and superiors sit in crisp dress blues. I don't blink. I don't flinch. Every muscle in my body holds its position. My boots are planted on the gleaming floor heels, aligned toes pointed forward precisely as I was trained. My jaw tightens, but my expression remains a mask of calm resolve. We are here for the annual Joint Forces Recognition Ceremony, the yearly gathering to honor Battalion Commanders Award citations and highlight exceptional service. Rows of chairs stretch in perfect symmetry beneath grand chandeliers. Medals gleam on silver trays at the head table. Every branch's emblem adorns a banner along the balcony rail. Major Larson, a senior operations officer under the 16th Airborne Corps, leans into the microphone, his smirk fading only for a heartbeat as dozens of eyes turn toward him. He expects uproarious laughter or sympathetic murmurs. Instead, a brittle hush falls. I feel the weight of his dismissal. 8 deployments led, each one with flawless execution, each one earning commendations from NATO and coalition partners. Yet here at the height of my career, I remain just a story in his eyes, cute, trivial, unworthy of respect. A tickle of movement at the back of the hall draws my gaze. In the VIP box, the Joint Intelligence Director, Director Reyes, leans forward, her steel gray eyes locked on Major Larson. She wears her rank insignia on a charcoal jacket, but it's her presence, not her badge, that carries authority. A sleek holographic console sits beside her. She raises an eyebrow, then rests a finger on the console's surface. The room seems to inhale. The small amber light on the console pulses once, then again. A ripple of tension vibrates through the hall. I taste the charged air, cool linoleum-polished leather, faint traces of her cologne, sandalwood, and cedar. The hush is so complete, I can hear my own heart's thrum behind my ribs. Major Larson's lips part, but no retort follows. His smirk falters. He glances toward the VIP box, panic flickering in his eyes. Sponsors, dignitaries, and fellow officers glance back and forth, confusion rippling like a wave. I maintain my stillness. I allow the silence to stretch, to settle around me like armor. My uniform is immaculate brass buttons, aligned ribbons, perfectly arranged. My service cap rests on the podium before me, brim shadowing my eyes. I focus on the trophies on display behind the head table, 8 glass obelisks engraved with my name, and the years I commanded Task Force Falcon, each awarded for exemplary leadership under fire. They glint like silent sentinels, each bearing witness to nights spent briefing coalition troops, days coordinating humanitarian relief convoys, and weeks overseeing multi-nation training exercises. Major Larson shifts, clearing his throat. He steps back, muttering something under his breath as aides rush forward to adjust microphones. The polished floorboards squeak as they hustle. A far corner of the hall's antique globe lights flicker as though reacting to the tension. I press my fingertips lightly to the podium's edge, smooth walnut, warm from the lights above. I draw a slow breath, tasting faint residue of my morning coffee bitter grounding. Director Reyes withdraws her finger. The amber glow fades. A cellist in the corner resumes a low, resonant note that swells into the hush. Cameras flash like distant lightning. The audience leans forward, captivated. Major Larson clears his throat again, then steps aside. I nod once, an unspoken cue. He knows I will speak. He knows I have the floor. I lift my chin pivot on my heel and address the assembly in a voice that carries without force. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My words echo softly, each syllable deliberate. Thank you for gathering tonight to honor service and sacrifice. I let a breath pass, savoring the weight of expectation. The chandeliers shimmer above, and the banners catch stray light, casting shadows that dance across the polished floor. I am Captain Chloe Bennett. I continue, and at age 25, I was entrusted with command of 1,000 dedicated soldiers in Task Force Falcon. We delivered humanitarian aid in hostile terrain, secured vital supply lines, and ensured the safe withdrawal of Allied civilians. I pause. Faces in the crowd soften. Some lean in. I feel a shifting current skepticism melting into respect. I stand here not to boast, but to remind us all that leadership is born of quiet conviction. I let the words settle before revealing the most powerful moment the twist Director Reyes signaled. I reach into my pocket and draw out a slim, laminated card, my mission orders from 4 years ago. The card bears her signature Joint Intelligence Directorate Operations Silver Dawn. The holo screen at her console flickers to life behind me, projecting images of desert ridges, convoy maps, and blurred faces of grateful civilians. The hall falls silent once more. Major Larson's jaw slackens. Advisors murmur in stunned disbelief. The cellist holds a trembling chord. I step from behind the podium, the card held aloft like a banner. The holo screen displays bullet points: Operation Silver Dawn, 100% mission success, 0 civilian casualties, evacuation of 2,000 non-combatants. I do not shout. I do not demand applause. I let the evidence speak. From the VIP box, Director Reyes inclines her head, a gesture of acknowledgement so potent it needs no words. She places the card back on the console. The holo screen dims, then dares to flicker once more, now showing my 8 mission citations alongside operational data. The audience exhales. Applause begins tentative at first, then surges in waves. Officers rise to their feet, the echo of boots on marble steps blending with claps that fill the hall. I stand motionless, absorbing the recognition I was denied years ago. The light glints off my insignia as I let the applause wash over me. Major Larson steps forward, offering a rare, grudging nod. I return to the podium place, a hand over my heart, and bow my head in thanks. In that blessed silence between notes of acclaim, I know this moment redeems every whisper of doubt I've overheard. It proves a single silent signal can carry more weight than 1,000 words. And as I step off the stage, the echo of applause fading into purpose, I carry with me a quiet truth. I was never just a story. I was and will always be a commander. I was born at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, in a small nursery lined with family photos, my grandfather in World War II, fatigues my mother in a Marine Corps dress uniform, my father in the crisp creases of an Army captain's blues. I grew up in a base housing neighborhood where every front porch held a star-spangled banner and every mailbox bore a rank insignia. Duty was our currency, sacrifice our common language. My earliest memory is of sand slipping through my fingers on a training ground. I was 6, wearing 2 large boots handed down from my father as he taught me proper posture and how to address an officer. "Stand tall, Chloe," he'd say. "A soldier's worth is measured by her bearing." I practiced pivoting at attention, imagining I commanded legions rather than playing with action figures. My mother, Major Rebecca Hayes, was gentler, her eyes always scanning for a hint of pain beneath my smallest frown. She taught me Morse code on our front porch, tapping out messages under the glow of a single lamp. When I cracked its secret, her smile lit the night like a beacon. "You have the mind for strategy," she whispered. "Remember that." By middle school, I was the solitary child sprinting laps around the playground in a skirt and combat boots, hauling makeshift stretchers made from old parachute fabric. My classmates called me Bragg's little general. Their teasing stung, but I refused to react. I told myself I was preparing learning to bear ridicule as well as rations. In high school, I watched my peers plan cheerleading tryouts and prom outfits. I planned my ROTC drills and sign-up paperwork for JROTC summer camps. I was too busy memorizing field manuals to worry about who sat with me at lunch. When classmates asked why I didn't eat with the cool kids, I nodded and said, "I'll see you on the parade field." My parents rarely attended my meets track cross-country drill competition unless protocol required it. They supported my younger brother's football games with cheers and popcorn in the stands while I ran alone, breath steady in the wind. When I won my first regional drill championship, I stood on the makeshift podium clutching a ribbon and expecting my parents to cheer. Instead, I felt the hush of their disinterest as they snapped photos and whispered about my brother's next game. After graduation, West Point beckoned. I arrived on campus in crisp cadet greens boots, polished so bright they reflected the morning sun. I immersed myself in academics, athletics, and leadership courses. Each early morning class felt like a victory. I was among the few women in my company, fewer still from military families. I learned tactics by day and tactics and strategy games by night. My classmates admired my calm under pressure, though they called me tactical ghost for my solitary habits. Commissioned as a second lieutenant at 22, I was assigned to the 82nd Airborne Division. My first deployment was to forward operating bases in Afghanistan. I led a humanitarian convoy, 1,000 soldiers, airmen, and Marines through hostile territory to deliver medical supplies and fresh water to remote villages. I earned commendations for every measure: 0 casualties, minimal civilian risk, maximum mission success. Yet when I returned, the division gala featured a parade of warriors returning with medals for valor under fire. My convoy's success earned me a mention in the brigade newsletter tucked between ads for haircuts and payday reminders. I learned quickly that success in combat often translated into obscurity on parade grounds. The generals praised the rifle squads who fought in firefights. The infantrymen earned stories on base news, while logistics and medical officers were behind-the-scenes footnotes. My mother sat through the gala in her dress blue's pride hidden behind her mask. She tapped her hand against her thigh when I passed her table, but she did not stand. I caught her eye across the ballroom. Her salute was almost imperceptible, as though she feared drawing more attention. My father, now retired, handled our family's Facebook page. He posted photos of my brother's football trophies, but never shared my deployment commendations. I visited home on leave, held up my bronze star for valor, and watched my father nod politely before telling me, "You're doing fine, just like your mother said." Each silent acknowledgement carved shards of resolve into my heart. I vowed to prove that a woman who led logistics convoys and evacuated civilians under fire could command respect equal to that of any rifle platoon. I attended every advanced officer course: maneuver, captain's career course, defense strategies, seminar, joint command, and staff college. I stayed after hours to master the art of joint operations planning. Every time I received a certificate of completion, I placed it in a drawer next to my grandfather's hardened metal campaign ribbons, as though stacking evidence of my worth. My first command came at 25 when I took charge of a 1,000-soldier task force Delta Alpha Forward Support Company. I was the youngest captain to hold that billet. We trained in desert operations, jungle warfare simulations, and mountain rescue exercises. We coordinated with local nationals in disaster relief drills, evacuating refugees, purifying water, distributing blankets. Each success briefing earned me yet another ribbon, another fleeting smile from my mother. But the ribbons never matched the look on my father's face when I boarded military flights in my ACU uniforms, departing units where my own men called me ma'am with genuine respect. His pride seemed reserved, measured as though he feared a civilian audience. I learned to prize the nods of my subordinates more than my own family's applause. When my deployment cycle ended, I returned to Fort Liberty, coasting on my reputation. I taught at the Officer Candidate School, mentoring young lieutenants. I volunteered for NATO exchange programs. I measured success not by medals but by the growth of the soldiers I trained. Yet when the annual Joint Forces recognition ceremony arrived, I stood among peers flanked by generals and dignitaries, and felt as invisible as I did at 8 years old on the playground. Now, as Captain Chloe Bennett, I wear my uniform with precision and dignity. I arrange my ribbons in perfect alignment each morning, a small act of defiance against a world that often overlooks the quiet work behind combat lines. My 8 operational awards hang on my wall at home, 8 nods from those who understand the costs of leadership in austere environments. Still, I carry the memory of childhood proms. I never attended the roar of football crowds. I never heard the hushed silence of my parents when I needed them most. Those absences became the bedrock for everything. I built a resolve to lead with calm authority, to let performance speak louder than protocol. I tuck a folded photo into my journal, me at 25, arms crossed in desert storm fatigues, flanked by the soldiers I commanded through sandstorms and ambush drills. Our faces are grim but proud. That photo reminds me of the truth I learned long ago: belonging isn't granted by family lineage or by ribbons alone. It's claimed by the countless mornings spent perfecting strategy, by every quiet decision that kept my soldiers safe, by every moment I stood at attention when the world expected me to kneel. I closed the journal, feeling its worn leather spine cradle my story. I glance at my reflection in the hallway mirror, salute sharp posture unwavering, and allow a small private smile to surface. Roots in the dust taught me to grow unbroken. Now I stand ready for whatever the next challenge demands. I taste dust on my tongue as I step off the Black Hawk helicopter into the red-hued dust of the Sahel. The sun hovers low, burning the horizon a deep amber. My palms itch at my sides, missing the weight of my service pistol against my thigh, replaced only by the crumpled copy of my orders. 2 weeks earlier, I led 1,000 soldiers, infantry engineers, and medics through hostile territory to rescue a convoy of refugees cut off by insurgent checkpoints. We navigated sandstorms, improvised IEDs, and broken radio signals. At dawn, I coordinated air support, ground maneuvers, and medical triage, simultaneously ensuring safe passage for every civilian. We loaded trucks with water, food, and blankets, then escorted them back to a fortified camp. Not a single life was lost. I carried out that mission flawlessly. Now I stand before Colonel Harding, the head of Joint Crisis Operations, in a makeshift command tent lined with folding chairs. His medals clink on his chest as he taps a laminated dossier against his gloved hand. His eyes, once warm with shared purpose, are cold with accusation. "Lieutenant Bennett," he begins, voice-clipped, "this board has reviewed the operational logs for Task Force Falcon. It appears there were procedural violations during the convoy extraction. Unauthorized engagement protocols were breached." My heart seizes. "Sir, with respect, our rules of engagement explicitly allowed for disabling checkpoints that threatened civilian lives. We adhered to orders." He presses the dossier into my hands. Inside, highlighted passages from the after-action report claim, "I overrode clearance procedures, deploying heavy ordnance too close to populated areas." It cites witnesses who claim the NGO liaison officer never approved the strike coordinates. The wording implies recklessness, incompetence, even war crimes. I swallow taste bile. My uniform feels heavier, the 8 operational ribbons at my chest, like parodies of victory. I lift my gaze to the faces around the tent, my company commanders, platoon leaders, young lieutenants I mentored. They avert their eyes. They tighten their lips. Shame blooms in my chest, hot and stifling. Colonel Harding folds his arms. "Effective immediately, I relieve you of command. You'll return to Fort Liberty for an inquiry. Until then, you are unauthorized to issue orders or wear command insignia." My legs threaten to buckle. I stand, rigid, nod once. "Yes, sir." I turn away, every step a hammer against my dignity. Outside, my soldiers' faces painted with dust and confusion watch me in silence. Some offer tremulous salutes. Others slump forward, disbelief etched on their features. No one meets my eye. The helicopter waits a few dozen meters away. I walk toward it with measured steps, trying to seal away the sting of betrayal. My boots kick up red dirt as I board. Engines scream to life. The aircraft tilts upward, and I peer back at the camp, shrinking beneath the swirling dust. Each swirling dust mote feels like a fragment of my reputation scattered beyond recall. Back at Fort Liberty, the inquiry stretches across endless days. I sit in sandbagged hearing rooms under fluorescent lights, facing panel after panel of officers. They read logs, parse radio transcripts, dissect tactical maps. Their questions are polite, almost clinical. Yet their subtext is undeniable. Did you sacrifice procedure for glory? Were you too eager to command? Did you value human lives less than your own ambition? I answer each question without defensiveness, calm, restrained. But inside, my pride fractures anew with every implication of fault. I replay the operation in my mind, the Taliban fighters who tried to encircle us at dawn, the agony in the refugees' eyes when they saw us approach, the gratitude on their lips when we delivered aid. I replay the decision to destroy a checkpoint rigged with explosives, the concussive blast that echoed across the sand. Each memory is a testament to necessity, not recklessness. Yet the inquiry lingers as if my every success can be undone by a single misinterpretation. I return to my quarters, a small room in the barracks filled with mementos, a photo of my mother in her dress, blues a folded flag from my grandfather's funeral, the photograph of my first command ceremony. Now they feel hollow. The 8 operational awards sit untouched on my dresser, their ribbons dulled by dust and doubt. A knock at my door interrupts my brooding. It's Captain Reed, my former executive officer, one of the few who never wavered. His uniform is immaculate, his face etched with concern. "Chloe, I've reviewed the logs privately," he says in a low voice. "You followed procedure. The liaison officer's signature was delayed in the field I vouched for your judgment under fire." I shake my head. "I appreciate it, Reed. But the damage is done." The board questions my discretion. He exhales. "There's talk of a convening authority review. Colonel Harding's preliminary decision could be overturned, but we need stronger evidence, eyewitness statements, satellite logs. We're gathering it, but it will take time. Time." The word tastes bitter. Each day I remain in limbo is another day I cannot lead. Another day my soldiers operate under a new commander who doubts their former leader's capabilities. I nod, steeling myself. "Thank you. Keep me informed." He salutes, then leaves quietly. I close the door and sink onto the edge of the bed. I cradle the photograph of my grandfather, his unwavering pride preserved in sepia. I whisper, "I would never let you down." I rise, pace the floor, and gather the scattered awards from the dresser. I hang them carefully on the wall, alignment impeccable. I study each ribbon and medal: Operation Rotunda, Operation Silver Dawn, Operation Nightingale, each one a promise kept, a life saved, an obstacle overcome. And yet today they feel like relics of a self I no longer trust entirely. I lie down on the narrow cot and close my eyes. The drone of the ceiling fan hums a lullaby of uncertainty. I wonder if I'll ever wear the captain's insignia with the same conviction. I wonder if my soldiers will ever salute me with faith intact. Night deepens and I drift into restless sleep, haunted by fragments of the inquiry faces of panel members questioning my judgment, the echo of the colonel's clipped voice, the incredulous silence of the camp. Doubt seeps through every wound, a slow poison that tarnishes the sheen of every achievement. But beneath the doubt, a spark remains, an ember of defiance. I clutch the photograph tighter, feeling the rough grain of the paper beneath my fingers, and vow I will reclaim my command. I will restore the trust I earned in the dust and the sand. I will prove that leadership is more than protocol violations. It is resolve tested in the crucible of necessity. When dawn breaks, I will rise. I will gather my evidence. I will fight for every inch of my reputation. Because even a single flame can ignite an inferno of truth, and I refuse to let my flame die in the face of wrongful accusation. Tonight, they may have stripped my glory, but I will not be stripped of my purpose. The dawn light filters through the narrow slats of my barracks window, painting the cots in pale amber stripes. I lie on my cot uniform, still crisp from yesterday's inquiry, eyes tracing the ceiling. My service cap sits on the bedside table, a silent accusation I am Captain Chloe Bennett, yet command has been stripped from me. A distant rumble of boots on pavement drifts through the hall. I hear the orderly making rounds, "Captain Bennett, time for breakfast." But I remain where I am, cocooned in a cocoon of doubt, so thick I can't force my mind forward. My ribs ache, not from yesterday's firefight, but from the weight of Colonel Harding's words. Procedural violations, disallowed engagement, relief of command. My phone buzzes on the table. A text from Captain Reed: evidence secured. We can appeal. Meeting at 0900. I stare at the screen, reading and rereading. Appeal. A lifeline or a punishing delay. The trials loom, it may not matter. I push myself upright, the cot creaking beneath me. My uniform feels like a straitjacket. I unbutton the blouse, peel it off, and don my PT gear olive green shorts, a faded t-shirt bearing the Task Force Falcon emblem. In full harness, I should feel ready for action. Instead, each movement feels labored. I leave the barracks and head toward the plaza where the unit assembles each morning. The sky is crisp, the air thick with the scent of diesel and dew. My steps echo on the concrete as I pass rows of enlisted troops running laps, their radios crackling with static. They see me, some glance away, others stare with a mixture of sympathy and respect. Their tacit salute stings. I am still their captain, even if I no longer command. I pause by the unit flag trailing stripes gently flickering in the breeze. I place a hand on the fabric coarse familiar. I close my eyes and breathe in, summoning the memory of each dawn I spent briefing reconnaissance missions in the desert, coordinating convoy routes, issuing orders that saved lives. In those moments, I was unshakable. Now doubt coils around my mind. Was I reckless? Did I truly follow procedure? Or did I allow my ambition to blind me? A steady voice cuts through my spiral, Captain Bennett. I open my eyes to find Sergeant Alvarez, my senior NCO, standing at attention. His brow is furrowed, eyes concerned. "Ma'am," he says quietly, "you're up in 10. The appeals board meets in conference room Bravo. They want you prepared to discuss every map annotation, every radio transcript." I nod, swallowing the lump in my throat. "Thank you, Sergeant." I turn away, boots scuffing the ground. In the latrine, I wash my face with cold water. The mirror greets me with my own reflection, pale, haunted eyes rimmed red. I lean in and study every line of tension. I unclip the 8 operational ribbons from my blouse, examining each one. Operation Falcon Dawn, Operation Unity Shield, Operation Silver Dawn. Each ribbon is a testament to flawless execution, to lives saved, to nights spent under foreign moons. They trace a path of service that should be undeniable, but here in the sterile glare of military justice, they feel like fading echoes. I consider leaving them behind, casting them on the metal counter like an offering of defeat. Instead, I reattach them, each brass clasp clicking into place with deliberate care. They'll speak for me when words falter. I walk to the chow hall, the clang of trays and murmur of conversation welcoming me like an echo from a life I once knew. I sit alone at the long table tray loaded with eggs, tasteless oatmeal, and a single burnt slice of bacon. My comrades file past, some pat my back, offering brief nods. I force a polite nod in return, but my appetite has evaporated. I pick at the oatmeal eyes, unfocused. My phone buzzes again. A message from my mother. "We're proud of you, Chloe. Stay strong." Under it, one from James. "I love you. I'll be there tonight." My chest tightens with gratitude and regret. My parents' indifference in the past is replaced by this sudden tender support. I stare at the messages, tasting the irony. After years of silence, now their words flood in when I need them most. I rise, leaving the tray behind, and head across the plaza to Conference Room Bravo. The building is older, its brick facade familiar from my early days as a second lieutenant. I pause at the double doors, hearing voices within the low murmur of officers reviewing documents, the scratch of pens. I enter. The room is arranged in a U-shape. A panel of 5 senior officers sits at the head, dossiers stacked before them. 2 legal officers flank the sides with clipped expressions. At the opposite leg of the U, Reed and Captain McAllister, my former mentor, sit in hushed consultation. I take the empty chair at the foot of the U. Captain Bennett, the presiding officer, intones Colonel Yates, whose measured voice carries gravitas. "The board is prepared to hear your statement." I draw in a steadying breath. My palms are slick. I wipe them on my pants. I pull a small folder from my briefcase. It contains every piece of evidence Reed gathered, satellite imagery of checkpoint coordinates, timestamps confirming proper clearance, signed statements from the liaison officer who had been medevaced before official sign-off. I open the folder and slide a printed copy of the liaison's signed affidavit across the table. The legal officer picks it up, thumbs through the pages. "Captain Bennett claims she held RAF pilot clearance at 06:15 hours. He says, flipping to the time code. He looks at me expectantly. I meet his gaze, voice calm. "Yes, sir. Clearance was radioed through our command net at 06:10. I have the full transcript. I slide the transcript forward. I did not override any procedure. I executed the mission in direct compliance with ROE, as attested by both Coalition Command and the on-ground liaison. He nods, noting in the margin. The board exchanges glances. I present satellite stills showing the checkpoint's location 45 meters from the refugee convoy's route. I outline the risk to civilian lives. Medical reports show several villagers were trapped, frightened, dehydrated. I detail my decision matrix. Protect civilians first, mitigate insurgent threat second. I walk them through the tactical map, my finger tracing safe corridors. Halfway through, I feel my resolve crystallize. This is not just defense of my career, it's defense of my integrity, of the lives I chose to protect. Every clipped reprimand, every lingering gaze of doubt converges into a focused intensity. I finish with the liaison's closing statement. Without her decisive action, an entire village would have perished. I fold my hands on the table. Silence hangs as the board digests the evidence. Colonel Yates clears his throat. Thank you, Captain Bennett. The board will deliberate. I stand gathering my folder. I allow each panel member's gaze to meet mine, a silent testament that I own every decision. Reed rises to follow. McAllister offers a curt nod. I nod back, then exit the room. Outside, the hot sun presses against my shoulders. I feel the tapestry of doubt unravel slightly. I breathe in the scent of sagebrush and jet fuel. I taste the promise of justice. Inside the command tent, troops glance at me as I pass. Some smile, others offer tentative salutes. I return them with a crisp salute of my own. For the first time since Colonel Harding's relief order, I feel the stirrings of confidence return. The board holds my fate, but I have shown them the full picture, not a reckless commander, but a leader who chose humanity over hesitation. I head back toward the barracks, footsteps light on the gravel path. The world feels less heavy. Doubt still whispers, but its voice is fainter now, drowned out by evidence, by purpose, by the unyielding truth I laid bare. Tonight I sleep, knowing I fought for every inch of my reputation. And tomorrow, whatever the verdict, I will stand tall, because no inquiry can erase the lives I saved or the convictions I hold. The morning sun slants through the blinds of my office, painting dust motes and golden bars. I stand behind my desk, staring at the blank wall where the final decision from the appeals board will soon be posted. Outside, life at Fort Liberty carries on, soldiers jogging past Humvees, idling in formation, the distant rumble of Black Hawks on the tarmac. To anyone else, it's another day. To me, it's the calm before my return to command, or the moment I must confront my failure. Colonel Yates's verdict still hangs in the balance. I was promised a chance at redemption, but in the Army, deadlines move faster than administrations. The next rotation board meets in 48 hours. If my relief order stands, I'll be reassigned to staff duty, a desk job that carries no weight of leadership. I cannot let that happen. I refuse to become another forgotten record in the archives. I close my eyes and breathe. I tap my hand on the desk, feeling the scars of tangled radio cords beneath my sleeve. I think of every sunrise run on dusty forward operating bases, every fog-lit briefing that saved civilian lives, every night spent poring over topographical maps. Those moments forged me. They cannot vanish because of a misplaced signature or a broken liaison. I decide I will not wait. I will prepare for the possibility of reinstatement, and I will prepare to demonstrate my capability with no margin for error. I will be unstoppable even if they doubt me. I gather my testimony folder and stride out of my office. In the hallway, I encounter Captain Reed carrying a stack of binders. He glances up. "Drill tonight?" he asks. I nod. 2,000 hours. Bring evidence packets. He offers a thin smile, then heads toward the briefing room. I follow him. 1,900 hours, company briefing room. The fluorescent lights flicker on as I enter. The room smells of chalk dust and stale coffee. Whiteboards line the walls, cluttered with drills, timetables, and tactical diagrams. My company's officers sit at folding tables, maps spread before them, lieutenants, sergeants, NCOs who once called me ma'am without hesitation. They look up, uncertainty in their eyes. "Attention on me," I say, sliding a binder onto the head table. Tonight, we rehearse Operation Sandstorm, a full-scale simulation of convoy extraction under enemy contact. We leave nothing to chance. They exchange glances. Lieutenant Patel, our logistics officer, raises an eyebrow. "Ma'am, we ran that drill last month. Last month's conditions were ideal," I reply, voice calm. Tonight, we simulate the worst sandstorm's comm failures, civilian presence. We practice every contingency. By the time we stand before the board, they will see that my command decisions are sound and decisive. Silence falls. Then, the sergeant of the guard, SFC O'Donnell, nods. "Yes, ma'am." I hand out folders. Inside, annotated maps with revised convoy routes avoiding new IED zones. Communications protocols updated with redundant radio nets. Civilian evacuation protocols incorporating non-combatant safe zones. Every detail is footnoted timestamps, responsible personnel risk assessments. "Patel briefed the new supply chain redundancy," I say. He steps up, voice steady, pointing to a schematic dual-route resupply trucks, aerial drops, local contractor contracts. Every logistical gap, ching that emerged last operation, is addressed. Next, Lieutenant Wu takes the floor to explain medevac contingencies, how to deploy CASEVAC under fire, coordinate with medevac helicopters, stage landing zones 500 meters from populated areas. He demonstrates on the digital map sliding in animated vectors. They follow my script rehearsed until fatigue sets in. I stand at the back, arms folded, watching each slide, each nod of comprehension. When drills conclude at 22:30 hours, sweat glistens on brows, but determination burns in their eyes. "Good work," I tell them. "Rest up. Tomorrow we execute." They salute and file out. I remain behind, picking up stray pens, wiping the whiteboard clean. I pause at the map of the Sahel where my inquiry began. I trace the convoy's path with my fingertip, recalling the faces of refugees, the flash of insurgent gunfire, the roar of the ordnance that cleared the checkpoint. I whisper, "I did what I had to do." 500 hours outdoor training area. I jog onto the field before officers arrive. 10 patrol vehicles, mounted weapons, and pop-up medical tents await. I adjust my cap and call my team in. The first light of dawn brushes the berms. A light breeze carries sand across the asphalt. "Listen up," I say, gathering them in a semicircle. Today we run convoy drills under limited visibility. Each vehicle maintains radio silence until contact. Our eyes and ears are the lead scouts. We protect our civilians at all costs. I split the troops into 2 convoys, Alpha and Bravo. I assign lieutenants to each lead, Sergeant O'Donnell to rear guard and Lieutenant Patel to logistics convoy 2. Every soldier checks kitloads ammo, secures heavy weapons, and confirms roles. I walk between them, placing a hand on each locked elbow. "I trust you," I say. They respond, "Sir, yes, sir." We mount up. Engines purr, weapons click, night vision. Goggles glow emerald. The first convoy rolls toward a network of sandbag obstacles, a mock checkpoint. We approach at crawl speed, engines idling. A hidden insurgent team meanders into view, role players firing blank rounds. Alpha freezes. Radio silence. Squad leaders use hand signals, sweep lines, move to flanks. Bravo provides overwatch snipers, perch on berms. I sprint between vehicles, stopwatch in hand, timing each maneuver. Every reaction is within doctrine, secure lanes, seal off civilians, disable threats with precision, extract convoy without casualties. We complete the drill in 4 minutes, 18 seconds, 15 seconds faster than the benchmark. I record the time, note the deviations, and call a halt. "Good," I tell them, but not good enough. I walk the line. We missed an alternate exit plan when comms went down. Next run, we refine. We repeat the drill under wind machines that send sand-swirling visibility drops to 20 meters. We hone, we adjust, we perfect. By 800 hours, fatigue is etched on every uniform, but each man and woman carries a spark of confidence. They no longer see me as the captain under inquiry. They see a leader who won't let them settle for yesterday's standard. 1200 hours, staff briefing room. I gather my binders again, this time for the final showcase before the approvals board. I set up my laptop to display video clips from the morning drills, split-screen views of command decisions, thermal optics footage of insurgent activity. Medevac runs civilian retrievals. Graphs chart reaction times. route efficiency, casualty avoidance. As aides adjust projectors, I pace the front of the room. Colonel Yates and two board officers file in, along with Captain Reed and Major McAllister, now acting as my liaison. They take seats. Reed gives me a nod. McAllister's eyes are steady. Captain Bennett, Colonel Yates says we'll observe your demonstration first, then hear your final summary. I click play. The video shows my voice over comms Alpha 1 proceed to waypoint Delta. Bravo, 2 secure civilians at Sector Echo. Medevac is standing by. The sequences run in split-second clarity coordinated movements, no friendly fire incidents, civilians boarded into armored personnel carriers. I let the footage run, pausing at keyframes. Here, I say note the civilian cluster behind me. I adjusted our route by 200 meters to avoid collateral damage. Without deviation, lives would have hung in the balance. I advance slides logistic throughput numbers, fuel consumption data, casualty averages. Each metric underscores efficiency and mission success. Colonel Yates flips through notes. He raises an eyebrow. Your oversight is comprehensive, he agrees. But how would you adapt if the liaison officer was incapacitated? I switch to the next clip, a simulated liaison medevac at 0300 hours. A soldier steps in to interpret thermal optic data. My voice directs deploy Relay 1, bring ComNet online, override civilian clearance on frequency Bravo 5. The convoy reroutes smoothly, no hesitation. Every soldier moves in concert. The room is silent except for the hum of the projector. Colonel Yates turns to the board officer beside him. They exchange a glance. The board officer leans forward, clearing his throat. Captain Bennett, your performance demonstrates unwavering control under duress. We are persuaded. My chest tightens. I bite my lower lip. I nod respectfully. Thank you, sirs. Major McAllister exhales relief washing over his features. He offers me a thin smile. Reed steps forward. I'll file the recommendation for reinstatement immediately. Colonel Yates closes his folder. Your command will be restored at 1800 hours today. Dismissed. As they rise, I feel a surge of vindication, not from their words, but from the quiet truth I've reaffirmed. I was never powerless. My decisions born of preparation and conviction stand apart from any misinterpretation. I gather my materials, my heart calm, yet pounding beneath my uniform. Outside the briefing room, I remove my hat, letting the cool corridor air wash over me. A group of junior officers stands by the exit, smiles bright. They snap to attention as I pass. I render a crisp salute. They return it with genuine respect. I walk through the compound, every officer and enlisted soldier I pass offering congratulations. I feel the worn ribbon on my wrist, 8 campaign ribbons strung together, each one a testament to invisible preparation now made visible. At 1800 hours, I will reclaim my command. Until then, I will breathe in this moment of triumph born from diligence and resolve. Because power is not given. Power is forged inch by careful inch in the quiet moments no one sees, in the invisible preparation that no inquiry can strip away. And tonight I will step back into command with more than a title restored. I will carry the certainty that I earned every inch of this victory, and that I am and always will be a commander. I step into the cavernous Joint Operations Hall once more, the same polished oak floors reflecting the glow of brass nameplates and flickering chandeliers. The annual Joint Forces recognition ceremony is underway, but for me it feels like coming home. Today, I will reclaim not just my place in the program, but the respect that was nearly lost. I wear my dress blues navy coat snug against my shoulders, 8 operational awards gleaming in perfect alignment. My rank insignia, now that of Major Bennett, shines with fresh polish. I pause at the hall's threshold, fingertips brushing the wooden doorframe. The hush of conversation meets me, punctuated by soft clinks of silverware and the low murmur of officers settling into seats. Major Larson stands at the podium again, no longer at my expense, but as master of ceremonies. He glances toward me with an awkward nod. I return it with a polite lift of my chin, message, clear, I am here and I am ready. Major Chloe Bennett, he announces, voice steady and respectful. now has been selected to receive the Joint Distinguished Leadership Award for Operation Sandstorm. He steps back and eyes swivel to me. The hall quiets. I walk forward along the red-carpeted aisle, each footstep measured and confident. Rank-and-file soldiers turn offering crisp salutes that I return with equal formality. My heart pulses with calm purpose in my chest. I climb the broad steps to the podium, the applause gentle at first, then building as recognition gathers strength. Before the audience, I hesitate only a breath long enough to feel the weight of every doubt I've vanquished. Then I take the microphone. Thank you, I begin, voice quiet but unwavering. When I first stood here as Captain Bennett, I was dismissed as cute story, my 8 deployments reduced to a punchline. A flicker of surprise ripples through the crowd, some exchange glances recalling that moment. Today, I stand before you not because of 8 successful missions alone, but because leadership is tested in adversity. I pause, letting the words settle like stones in still water. The hall dims for a moment, shadows shifting softly across uniformed faces. I was unjustly relieved of command. I continue, and I faced an inquiry over a single procedural question that nearly erased our collective success. My fingertips brushed the podium's edge, steadying me. But my soldiers and I prepared, we demonstrated our readiness, and we reclaimed our mission integrity. From the VIP box, Director Reyes rises. She stands tall in civilian attire, a charcoal suit that frames her statuesque bearing. Beside her, a holographic console flickers to life, casting an amber glow across the balcony rail. She never leaves that console untouched, her gestures precise and deliberate. Her finger hovers above the control surface. I meet her gaze across the sea of officers. No words pass between us, but her nod is a beacon, an acknowledgement of every unseen hour we invested, every doubt we overcame. The amber console pulses once. A soft chime blooms through hidden speakers. The projection screens on either side of the stage flicker, then display a montage satellite imagery of desert convoys, timelines of rehearsals under wind machines, annotated command logs, drone footage of checkpoint clearance. Each clip underlines the precision that led to 0 civilian casualties. I glance up at the screens as the images play, my voice echoing over comms. Alpha lead, proceed on my mark. Bravo, follow at 20 meters. Medevac on standby. The footage is silent now, letting visuals speak, soldiers moving with seamless coordination, civilians safe in armored vehicles, medevac helicopters in golden light. The chime fades, the screens dim. Director Reyes lowers her hand, the amber glow retreating. In the hush that follows, the hall seems to inhale, suspended between revelation and reaction. Major Larson steps forward, clearing his throat as though buoyed by new understanding. He taps the podium lightly. Major Bennett, your leadership has been beyond exemplary. Please join me to receive this award. I turn, extend my hand to accept the engraved medallion, its satin ribbon, rich blue and gold, and meet his gaze. His eyes hold respect tinged with remorse. I accept the award with a nod, then turn toward the VIP box. Director Reyes inclines her head once more. Her expression is unguarded now, proud, almost maternal. She sets the console aside and reaches behind her to retrieve a slim, leather-bound document. Aide de camp materializes beside her, presenting the document. It bears official seals, Joint Forces Command, Permanent Command Authority. My breath catches as I see my name, Major Chloe Bennett, followed by my new billet commander, Rapid Response Medical Task Group. A ripple of astonishment moves through the hall. Officers rise, eyes bright, as the document is projected onto the side screens. The applause begins in hesitant waves, then swells into a tide that sweeps across the room. I keep my gaze fixed on Director Reyes. Her silent signal, first the holo screen flash. Now this document has restored more than my command. It has restored my dignity. I step forward to retrieve the commission scroll, palms steady. Major Larson steps aside to let me pass. I move to the front of the stage, document in hand, and bow my head in gratitude. No shouted accolades, no fanfare. Just the resonant hum of applause carrying the weight of every silent preparation, every steadfast decision, every unspoken moment of doubt now laid to rest. I return to the podium and place the commission scroll beside the medallion. I offer a brief salute to Director Reyes, a salute returned with equal firmness. Then I pivot and step off the stage, each footfall echoing in the hushed hall. As I descend the steps, my soldiers part to let me pass. They salute. I salute back. In their eyes, I see the same resolve that once defined me in the desert sands. This time, no one doubts. Outside, the cool evening air greets me as I leave the hall. Stars blink overhead against the dark sky. I draw a long breath, tasting freedom and purpose. My command awaits Rapid Response Medical Task Group. The lives we will save, the crises we will tame, these are the chapters yet unwritten. And in the quiet of that night, I know my leadership was never in question, only my audience. Now, I have both command and recognition forged not in rhetoric, but in the silent strength of unwavering resolve. The sunrise over Fort Liberty is soft and forgiving the sky, a pale wash of rose and gold. I pause at the gate of the newly commissioned Rapid Response Medical Task Group headquarters, an austere complex of modular shelters, medical tents, and a small heliport. My uniform, now that of Major Bennett, feels lighter than air. I lift my gaze to the American flag snapping in the breeze and draw a steady breath. When I first took command of this task group, I carried more than a commission scroll. I carried the weight of every jeer, every inquiry, every silent doubt that shadowed my career. Today, I carry something else, proof that leadership forged in hardship can heal as powerfully as any life-saving procedure. I step inside the operations tent where my officers and NCOs have already convened. The centerpiece is a large digital map tracking a simulated disaster scenario. A coastal city flooded by a hurricane, critical infrastructure crippled thousands of civilians in need. My cadre doctors, medics, engineers, logisticians stands at attention. Their faces are alert, determined, ready. Good morning, I begin, voice calm. Today, we conduct Exercise Iron Shield, a full-scale medical relief operation under contested conditions. We have 4 hours to set up a triage center, airlift injured civilians, and coordinate with local authorities. Then we transition to mass feeding and shelter support. They nod, absorbing each detail I present. We review the timeline, H hour at 0800 mass casualty intake at 0900 field hospital operational by 1000. We discuss rules of engagement, protect civilians, secure only what's necessary, maintain respect for local customs. We walk through communication protocols, contingency plans for after-action reporting, and media engagement to ensure transparency. I watch them prep with precision, the way they don protective equipment, calibrate portable ventilators, organize supply pallets. I feel a profound sense of pride. This is not a mere demonstration. These men and women will one day deploy to real crises half a world away. Their competence is my legacy. 2 hours later, I lean against the side of the triage tent, clipboard in hand, observing the controlled chaos of wounded simulants, triaged stretchers loaded into waiting helicopters, and floodlit medical bays springing to life. My eyes flick to the screens above live drone feeds, patient flow metrics, supply stock levels. A single beeper buzzes against my chest, an alert that local authorities request immediate support to evacuate a group of elderly civilians stranded on a rooftop. I turn to Captain Alvarez, the operations officer. Alvarez, assemble the quick response team. Medevac with escort. I want thermal imaging confirmation before descent. My voice is low but precise. No hesitation. He snaps his head up. Yes, ma'am. On it. Within minutes, a Black Hawk lifts off escorted by a security team. I track its progress on the screen, a white dot moving across the digital floodplain. An URT transmission crackles through my earpiece, Major Bennett rooftop evac in progress. ETA 3 minutes. 3 minutes. That's a lifetime when lives hang in the balance. I glance at the rows of medial personnel waiting to receive them. My task group has bred a seamless chain of care. I remember the sting of being stripped of command and how I rose through invisible preparation to reclaim every inch of respect. Now that respect is measured not in commendations on my chest, but in every life we touch. After action, we reconvene in the briefing room, the digital map replaced by charts of patient outcomes, response times, and resource utilization. My team's performance exceeds benchmarks. H-hour targets met no simulated casualties, lost civilian morale high. I barely glance at the numerical data my officers do that. I step forward and address them. Outstanding work, task group. You executed with speed, precision, and compassion. You have validated every lesson we've trained for. They exchange proud looks. Lieutenant Kim, our lead medic, catches my eye and smiles, eyes shining behind her mask. Captain Reed, my trusted XO, nods slowly, a gesture of profound respect. Then I offer a final charge. Remember this operation not just for its success, but for why you serve to save lives and preserve dignity in chaos. Carry this ethos into every mission, public or hidden, so that when history writes your story, it will reflect your character. They break, offering a round of genuine applause. I allow myself a small, measured smile. Their respect is earned, their confidence built on shared trials more powerful than any public accolade. Homecoming. Later that evening, I return to my modest quarters on base. The walls bear photos, family in dress uniforms, snapshots from deployments, candid shots of my team in the field. My desk holds a single trophy case inside 8 operational awards from Task Force Falcon and the Joint Distinguished Leadership Medallion. Next to those sits a plain-framed letter, my promotion to Major with Director Reyes's signature. I gaze at the letter, recalling her silent signal at the gala, the initial spark that rekindled my career. I fold it gently back into its envelope and place it on my bedside table. The door clicks behind me. James stands in the doorway, his uniform jacket slung over his shoulder. He smiles, eyes crinkling. "Welcome home," he says softly. I cross the room and embrace him. His warmth reminds me that leadership thrives in relationships between commander and team, between partners in life, between past and present selves. We sit at the small table, share leftovers from the chow hall, roasted chicken potatoes salad. We talk of mundane things, base maintenance, weather forecasts, our neighbor's new puppy. Laughter fills the silence. Finally, he reaches across and takes my hand. "You did it," he whispers. I squeeze his hand, feeling the familiar calluses from his own service, another testament to shared purpose. "We did it," I correct him. He nods, and now he asks. I lean back and glance at the framed awards on the shelf. Now I say we build the next chapter for those who will come after us. Reflection. Before sleep, I journal tonight. I led a mission that saved dozens of lives in simulation, but the impact goes deeper. We refined protocols, built trust with civilian partners, and proved that a task group under scrutiny can perform with unwavering excellence. My journey from dismissed captain to trusted major taught me that respect is earned in every silent rehearsal, every shattered doubt, every lifeline extended to those in need. I close the journal and slide the metal ribbon onto my nightstand. Its frayed edges glow in the moonlight. Beside it, the promotion letter rests, a quiet reminder that recognition may be granted by authority, but leadership is claimed by deliberate action. I switch off the lamp. Darkness settles. I lie back, chest rising and falling in calm rhythm. Tomorrow, I will don this uniform again, step into that operations tent, and lead with the same resolve that carried me here. When they refused to recognize my authority, I wrote my own legacy, one life at a time, one silent victory after another, and I never needed their applause.